Well, it's quite common when I talk to people about what I do, right? I teach about climate change. People will go like, isn't there like these controversies? There is no consensus. Then, you hear words like complexity, you hear words like uncertainty. And sometimes that drives me crazy. There is actually consensus on this topic. In fact, there is an international body called the Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change, which brings together thousands of scientists who have dedicated their work, their research, their publications, all toward the topic of climate change. Not only do they provide interdisciplinary ways of understanding the issue, they also continually update this knowledge. So, what causes people to say that, oh, well, it's uncertain? I think it is about how the whole issue of climate is different from weather. The condition of the atmosphere at the moment, right? Whether it's raining, whether it's hot, whether it's cold, it's at the moment. You live it. But climate is an average condition over a period of time. We can't predict weather accurately, even as we speak. So we have got weather maps, satellite images, and we can probably give you a fairly good estimation of the likelihood of rain, say 3 hours from now. But you cast that timeline a little bit further. So you start thinking about, will it rain on this day 3 years later? It's hard to say because you don't have all the data that leads up to that point. And very much like climate change. We know that there will be changes to the climate system because we've observed temperature trends going up. That's certainly going to do something to our weather patterns, certainly going to do something to our climate system. The question is not about if, the question is about when. So when you have a concept of uncertainty, some people will jump on it and say, well, you're uncertain, so why do we need to do anything about it at all? So that usually gives me a lot of frustration. Understanding climate science needs us to appreciate that it is a long-term phenomenon and it is happening as we speak. We can't hope to say that, hey, today is warmer than yesterday, so it's global warming. Or the reverse. Oh, it's snowing today, so what global warming are you talking about? That kind of a time frame and a thinking is not helpful because we know for a fact that over the last 160 years, temperatures have gone up, sea levels have gone up. I think we can be assured that the scientific community is committed to continually update their findings. The research hasn't stopped. Organizations like the IPCC will give us continuous as well as updated reports on the state or the health of our climate. And it is on this basis that we'll be able to understand what are some of the causes of climate change, what are the impacts that affect our lives, and what can we do about it. Well, you may say, I live in Singapore and I don't really see snowstorms. I don't get like 12 inches of snow in 12 hours. But there are situations. You do hear of rainfall events like exceeding 100 millimeters within a 24-hour period. You do hear things like, yet another typhoon has slammed on the shores of Philippines. These kinds of weather changes are going to come our way. They have been recently, and they will continue to come our way. So it is high on the priority of many people's minds, many governments' minds, because it's going to change not just the physical aspects of life, but also the economy. So then it comes back to this question, right? So, okay, it's not going to be happening immediately. Okay, I'm convinced now, I need to do something about it. What can I do? I'm not a government. I'm not a multinational corporation. I just can't reduce carbon footprint immediately. And even if I reduce my carbon footprint, it's not going to matter much because it's a global issue. If we make a choice and say that I'm going to stop using plastic bottled water. Right? I'm not going to buy off the rack from the supermarket, but I'm going to bring one of these water bottles, reusable, and I'm going to fill up and use and drink water from there when I need to. And I just want to make a hypothetical suggestion that if I save 1 gram of carbon emission on that bottle of water, and let's take a population of Singapore in the current state, and let's just round it down to 5 million people. And assuming that everyone saves 1 bottle of water a day's worth of carbon emission, 1 gram a day, 5 tons for the whole population. Over a period of 100 days, you're gonna save like 500 tons of carbon emission. So it adds up. My point is, no effort is too small. There is a cumulative effect. And if we start thinking it's not my problem, it's my government's problem, and let them take care of it, then we're not going to be able to do anything at all. But if we all believe in this, and we just do our little bit, but when we add it up, it is quite substantial. I like to use the example of Singapore's Gardens by the Bay. The light shows in the evening, like the whole garden is transformed into a fairyland, and people will start wondering, where is all the electricity coming from to make this place look so wonderful? And I thought Singaporeans have prided themselves, in being very environmental friendly. They have a lot of talk about garden city and all that. So what's with all the lights? What's unknown to most people is that actually the energy is produced in part by solar energy, of course, but also in part by the incineration of the clippings of the roadside trees and the wayside bushes that are transported to Gardens by the Bay. They even have an incinerator on site, which then produces the heat to drive the electricity production on site. And so all the energy that you're getting from the incineration of the roadside clippings, and of the solar energy is then converted to power, not just the light shows, but also the controlling of the shades in the flower dome, the cloud dome, which all help to regulate the environment. So essentially, the Gardens by the Bay is a zero carbon facility. So that's just one example. And imagine what we could do if all the organizations, companies could start thinking in the same way and could do something to change their energy footprint. Wouldn't it be great if we can all do that?